In the previous episode, I discussed how to build an emberjs application using Ruby on Rails. The application we built was a very simple one. It has name, credit card number, and CSV field. At this time, it does not have any dynamic features. So let's add some dynamic attributes like validations. Name is a required field, so if I tab away from name field without entering any data, then I should have some kind of error indicator here. So I'm going to add that. Also notice that I would be using Twitter Bootstrap to show the icons here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a branch. So here is our application and we want to add validation logic. In emberjs applications, most of the business rules, they go to controller. Let's take a look at our model. This is a very simple model and we don't need to add any validation logic here. To add the validation logic, we would go to credit card controller.js.coffee. The first thing we need to do is delete this hello world, and let's write the code for validating name first. Since we would be using get value for both card number and for CSV, I'm going to use a generic accessor for get value. Here is get value code. Let's look at it. First I set error as false and then I try to get the value from the model. If the value is not present, then I set error is equal to true. For my debugging purpose, I have added console log. Value has error, and then in the end I set name error to either true or false. Now let's go to credit card view, and here we will add the code for DOM interaction. In emberjs applications, view is the place where DOM interaction happens, and all the business logic is in controller, and controller is usually not aware of views. So in this way we have separation of concern. Here I'm creating a generic card text field which extends from ember text field. Ember text field is a generic text field helper, and I'm stating that on focus out take following action. So first thing I want to do is get the parent view. So the parent view of the text field is the credit card view itself. So parent view.controller will give me the controller name, which in this case should be credit card. Then I'm getting the view name, and then I'm getting what will be the validator name. After I have the validator name, I ask the controller what is the state of it. Let's go ahead and change the template, and then it will become clearer. So here I have credit card.handlebars. So this is where we need to make the code change. View is a helper utility given to us by Ember. Payment.card text field. View name is name. Value binding is name. Class is span2. So here the value binding is a way to telling Ember that this field's value is bound to the name field of the model. We can delete the first row. And now let's look at it in the browser. Here, if I tab away from name, then I'm getting name has error in console. So this means our code is working. However, I need to add some kind of visual indicator here. So let's go back to the handlebar template. And here I need to put the proper class to make it dynamic. So here I just added this code which starts with bind attr. Bind attr stands for binding of attribute, and this is a way of telling emberjs that the application is having a dynamic attribute. The attribute in this case is class, and the coding convention goes like this. If name error is true, then the class value should be icon remove. If name error is false, which means there is no validation error, then display icon OK. Now let's look at it in browser. If I tab away without entering anything, then I'm getting the visual indicator that something is wrong, and on the console I'm getting the same error message too. I need to do the same thing for credit card number and CSV, so let's go ahead and add validations for these two attributes too. I'm just going to copy it, paste it here, view name card number, view name card number, value binding card number, and class is input X large. For the error indicator, same thing. Instead of name, it will be card number, and same goes for CSV. In the controller, we need to add validation code for card number and CSV, which is exactly similar as validate name. Now if I refresh, I tab away from name, I get an error. I tab away from credit card, I get the error message card number has an error, and same goes for CSV. If I type name, the message goes away, and with CSV the message goes away. If I type ASDF in credit card number, then it is saying it's okay, which is not right. So let's fix that. So the first thing is I need to add is numeric check for card number validation, and I need to do the same thing for CSV. Now I need to implement is number. Here I'm going to paste a standard is number validation in JavaScript. Now let's see how it works in browser. If I enter GH, I get card number has error. If I say 4007, it says it's good. And same goes for CSV. And in this case I got error. So it looks good. Before I end the screencast, one last thing I want to add is if I click on name, then I should get the focus on the text field, which is not happening right now. Let's fix that. To get the focus to the text field, I need to add for attribute here. Remember last time we used bind attr to control the value of an attribute? The same feature we are going to use this time. Here is the code. In this case, bind attr for view.name.element.id. Element ID is a method that is provided to us by the emberjs. Let's see this in action. I refresh the page. If I click on name, I'm getting the focus. Let's see what is the element ID. In this case, the element ID is ember310. And notice that in label, I'm getting the right value for ember310. So what is this ember310? Emberjs dynamically assigns a unique ID to each element in the page. We would be discussing a lot more about identity and this unique ID in future screencasts. Now let's do the same for credit card number and CSV. For card number, the code is exactly same, except instead of name, it will be card number. Same thing for CSV. Now let's see it in browser. I clicked on card number, now I clicked on CSV, and now I clicked on name. So it's working. It's a very simple application, but it gives you a feel of how simple validation logics can be added to emberjs application.